And today's movie that you don't hate?
The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift.
Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. As you can see behind us.
Part 3
of a long franchise.
Well, part 1 with Paul Walker and Vin Diesel was budgeted at $38 million, grossed $207. So once they broke that 100 barrier, you already knew that they were going to start making these.
Right.
Part 2 made $236, and then part 3 came along. $85 million it took to make this movie. It only made $158, the lowest out of the entire series.
And it did make its money. Well, I mean, it
made money.
basically
It just
broke even, and it was like this
Basically,
almost sunk the franchise, to be honest.
But we're here to tell you why you don't hate Fast and Furious 3 Tokyo Drift.
Even though I just said it almost sunk the franchise. But it doesn't take away from what was in the movie, and that's the reason why we say you don't hate this movie.
So in 2006, it was thought that the franchise was gone, trying to figure out what they were going to do with it. So they made this one, and it stayed with the same aspect of the first two as far as the racing.
Yeah.
Girls, nice music, right?
Just no Paul Walker and no Vin Diesel.
No, well, Vin Diesel
At the end.
cameo, spoiler, whatever.
I mean, we're doing spoiler alerts on Tokyo Drift.
There is a part 8 out now.
There's a part 8. If you haven't seen 3 by now, jeez.
Well, anyway, for those of you that have not seen You Don't Hate, we're going to break this down in 5 categories. We're going to break it down by the plot, the acting, the directing, the action sequences, and the characters. When everything is all said and done, we're going to tally up the score and see whether you hate this movie or you like this movie. So we're going to prove that you don't hate.
You don't hate this movie. And what's funny is that, to be honest, I was actually kind of leaning towards hate. Did watch the movie again. It's not that bad of a movie, to be honest. It's like, compared to what had already come out, it gets a lot of bad, a lot of criticism because it didn't quite live up to what was already had been put out in the first 2 movies. So, is it the best Fast and Furious movie? No, not at all. Not at all.
Is it the worst?
Debatable.
Well, Terrence, why don't you tell us the plot of Tokyo Drift?
All right, so the plot of Tokyo Drift, I like to sum up in 2 words. White privilege. Because our main character in this movie he's a high school student, even though he does not look like a high school student. He is a high school student.
He's 17.
He's in this movie. He's 17. He ain't 17.
Sean Boswell.
That dude's
character.
What did they say in Bad Boys? He's 30.
He's 30.
So, but anyway, so he gets in trouble in his hometown. He's doing some street racing, he's getting in trouble in school, wrecks a car. Mom can't take it anymore. And you know what moms do when you are out of control like that?
They send you to live with your uncle and your aunt in Bel Air.
That's what black people do. White people do. They send you to live with your auntie,
Your dad,
or your dad in Japan. I'm sorry. I'm still thinking of Fresh Prince of Bel Air. They say you live with your dad in Japan, which somehow I didn't quite think was a real punishment. Like, you want me to go hang out with dad and go holler at Japanese chicks all day?
Gee, let me think.
But either way, it was a punishment for him, kind of, sort of. So he goes over to Japan. He gets hooked up with Lil Ma Weezy, playing Twinkie, which is
a guy named Twinkie.
Weirdest of character names.
What kind of character?
I mean, Lil Bow Weezy. What would you take better, Twinkie or Lil Bow Weezy?
Lil Bow Weezy, of course. I'll take his Hulk man.
Hooks up with them. Introduces him into at the time this movie came out, drifting was the popular racing scene that was going on in Tokyo. So he introduces him to the drifting scene. He gets out there, gives it a try, wrecks another car. This time,
you can't drive, man.
No, really, the movie should be You Can't Drive.
No wonder he's serious.
He wrecks a car of somebody important, which was our character that we've all known from the series itself, which was Han. And Han said basically he's in debt to him. So he basically, in a way, once again, this is white privilege.
Work it off.
You get to work it off. Dude, if this had been black people, you'd be dead. This would be dead. It was like, you know what? You wrecked my, tens of thousands of dollar car, which probably for what was he had on screen, probably was like $100,000 car. I'm gonna have you work it off. What? Come on. But that's the borderline plot of this movie is, like I said, hashtag white privilege.
Okay. So you take out, let's just take out the Fast and the Furious part.
Okay.
And just Tokyo Drift with the plot.
All right.
Do you like or hate it?
I give this movie credit for trying to do something different.
Staying the same.
But completely different.
Completely different. But stay the same.
But I mean, it tried to do something different by changing up the racing. The franchise was built on racing. From the first one, they street raced, and the second one, they kind of street raced, but they did things that were involving street racing. This one, they were like, okay, we can't just keep, even though they did, they can't keep relying on the street racing. We got to somehow change it up. We don't see 3 movies that just plain on street racing. So I give them credit for doing the drifting aspect of this movie, but the plot's kind of stupid.
So you hate it?
I hate the plot.
You hate the plot.
I hate the plot.
All right. Well, I actually like the plot.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I actually like the plot because
Fresh Prince of Tokyo.
Because, like you said, it actually which you threw me for a loop there because I really thought that you were going to give it a chance. But okay, it's not that bad of a I know, but it's not that bad of a plot because. You know, like you said, it's taking elements from the first 2 as far as the racing is concerned. It's adding something new to it, and now, granted, there is the third act. It's like you're waiting to get to the third act, but you kind of get lost a little bit in the middle there. But overall, from the beginning, I would say that I do like the plot.
Okay,
it's not that bad. So that's a split. We're already splitting it. So Aspen, where would you go on the plot for Tokyo Drift?
I don't know. I think I need more info. Like, tell me why you like it.
I thought that's what he just did.
That's what I just did.
You didn't really tell me anything.
Okay, well, what about you? You saw it too, so
what did you think?
What did you think of it?
I mean, it's a pretty typical story. You know, like.
White people, get into trouble. Don't face any real consequences.
Whoever wins this race has me. The girl says that.
That was an awesome line.
I think the like new racing thing, like being in Tokyo and the whole drifting thing, isn't enough to save like this cliche story.
That was my one takeaway from it is that they changed the setting, they changed the style of racing, but I think I'm gonna give it a like. Fresh Prince of Japan doesn't really work for me.
So you're doing a hate.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hate gets the point.
All your other categories are gonna save it. So.
We shall see.
We shall see. No, we're not. All right. The second one is the acting. Now these are basically unknowns. So the acting is going to be suspect. To be honest with you, you got Lucas Black who plays the lead, Sean Boswell, who's basically the Paul Walker of the.
He is the Paul Walker, high school Paul Walker.
Yeah. And you got Lil Bow Wow, Chad Moss there, playing Twinkie,
who is the not Tyrese of this franchise.
He's a Twinkie Reese.
He's a Twinkie Reese of this movie.
He's a Tweese. And you got Sung. I'm so sorry, Sung. That brother named Sung that plays Han.
I totally thought you were gonna slip and say something else.
This show's going beautifully.
It's going great.
Anyway, so to be honest with you, I think he is and Brian T, who plays the Drift King. I think Sung Kang, that's his name. I think those two actually do really good in this movie. So
I think they did well. I don't think for what Bow Wow had to do in this movie, or what Twinkie had to do in this movie, I didn't find real much fault with his acting. And even with Lucas Black, it just wasn't great. I mean, it wasn't something that blew me away. He was no Paul Walker, but I mean, I don't think he did a horrible job. I mean, he is the main part of this movie, though. I think
that the Asian actors really kind of actually saved this movie. To be honest with you,
now is it because they spoke with an accent?
The leads,
the inflection of how they said things.
You can tell they were unknowns. You can tell they were unknowns, and then you had Natalie Kelly who played the love interest in the movie, and I think that she was really just there. I mean, she really didn't give too much emotion. She was just there, so I can't really credit her for her acting.
Have to be hot in the movie.
But Lucas Black, he's still, like I said, he's no Paul Walker, but he tried. I just think that the Asian actors actually did a lot better. I wasn't a fan of Bow Wow that much, to be honest with you. He was Jaden Smith before Jaden Smith, but
he was Jaden Smith before Jaden Smith.
so I'm gonna have to give it a hate.
Ooh, how do I feel about this? I didn't hate the acting in it.
So this is where it's gonna be interesting.
It's a split. This is
because
a polarizing movie.
Because because I liked the plot and hated the acting. You liked the acting but hated the plot. So for the second time, our director Aspen is gonna have to go with this one. What do you think?
I still agree with Terrence.
For Unknowns, you like it?
Yeah, I like
all right.
acting for them being, complete.
I mean, come on, you had that great line. It was like, whoever wins gets me.
Winner gets me.
Yeah.
No, yeah, crazy dialogue.
That's great acting.
It's not even.
She was a bit player to this movie.
All right.
But it was funny though.
Well, here's going to be a unanimous for me, and I really feel in my heart that this is a like. But this is the directing. This movie is directed by Justin Lin, and this man did so damn good that they gave him 4, 5, reinvented it, 6. And then he passed it on to James Wan. So yeah, he was freaking like the bright spot in this movie.
I loved
his directing was really good. Now this guy he actually did Better Luck Tomorrow, and that was a Sundance movie actually. And then fun fact, real quick on Better Luck Tomorrow, MC Hammer read the script, liked it. Justin Lin remembered he liked it. They were desperate, needed money, called Hammer. Hammer made Better Luck Tomorrow happen, and that's responsible for Tokyo Drift. So pretty fun fact there. But he was a fresh young director, had one movie under his belt, and for him to go and take over this franchise, which he was a film student when he saw part 1, and he really liked it and was kind of honored to be part of this franchise. So he went ahead and did it, and he wanted to do something different with it.
Right.
He got with some of his Better Luck Tomorrow cast and placed them in this movie, which is where you get Sung Kang, who actually played Han in Better Luck Tomorrow as well. Not the same Han, but his character's name was Han as well. So but the way he tackled it on, you already knew what he was going to be. You kind of had an idea if they were going to give him the franchise, what it was going to be like, because that franchise just has his name written all over.
Yes,
especially Fast Five.
He really got to put all his when we got to the later ones. But in this one, I think he did a great job with what he was given, even though I didn't really care for the plot. But I think he did a great job with what he was given in this particular movie. He had this was the $85 million budget.
Yes.
Okay. He didn't have a super large budget. He had not well known actors at all. Everybody basically is an up and comer. Bow Wow was the biggest name that you had in this film.
That's true. That's very true.
Little. I mean, he did really good with little. And like I said, he introduced us. Every time he's given us a movie, Justin Lin, he's always brought some new little wrinkle, some new way to present the same stuff, and he presented it differently. I like what he did with this movie. I want to give it a like.
I really do. I'm giving it a like. So Aspen, you're good. You're okay.
All right, this time.
Point, give the like. Action sequences is the next one. The racing in this and the drift scenes, and I compliment it's a crane shot with the cars that drift into the crowd.
About it.
I thought it was an aerial shot. It's a crane shot. My bad. But anyway, but some of those scenes were just freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, of course. I mean, first and foremost,
action-packed.
This movie is about cars, fast cars, and quasi racing,
and girls,
and girls. So, I mean, but we're looking at what this movie. Exactly. What this movie is truly about. I mean, of course. I mean, it's built on making good action scenes. This racing scene right here, when they show the drifting in the parking garage, that was
absolutely
awesome. The drifting through the crowd, or that's amazing. I mean, those scenes were really, really good, and like Justin Lin did really good. He brought his own style and gave us different things that we had seen from the previous Fast and Furious movies, and that style gave us, something original. So I like what he did with the action scenes. I think those were really great. And presenting drift. By the way, if you're a drifting fan, you're the only people that really, really enjoy drifting, because from like a person who's not really into drifting, watching drifting, you don't really understand what's the point of it. And drifting is based on like, did you look better doing it versus did you win the race? And to turn that into a movie, you're a genius, man.
Well, the SCC actually tested the cars and found that these were actually slightly faster than the ones on Too Fast, Too Furious. So the cars that they used were sleeker and they were faster than all of them. So they actually lived up to the title of Fast and Furious.
So is this Too Faster and Too Furious?
Three faster, 3 furious. So I'm gonna give the action sequences a like.
So I'm giving it a like too. This got some good scenes in it.
All right, the characters. Terrence, I did not like Twinkie. A guy named Twinkie. Only Han was the only thing that I liked about this movie. Sean Boswell as a character, he gave you this old school Sean Penn, Bad Boys type of, or even early Keanu in Point Break, which we always compare Fast and Furious and Point Break.
Yeah.
But there's just something about the character himself that I was not too fond of, to be honest with you. Maybe I kind of liked him maybe in the third act when he was a little older, more mature, I guess, for a 17-year-old kid, because he does play 17.
He was Paul Walker. I mean, he was basically...
he was Paul Running, because this one was not... He was Paul Runner in this one, because he was going too fast. But anyway, I just didn't see the same... and Lucas, I love you, but I didn't see the same charisma that Paul Walker had.
So it was missing. I think that's more of the acting, though. But how did you like how his character was written?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about
his character didn't have enough charisma as Brian had.
Exactly.
Okay, I get that. I just think his character was trying to be Brian, and he wasn't Brian.
And also him and Twinkie were not, the chemistry was not the same as Toretto and
no,
either. So
God.
That was kind of like
they casted Bow Wow because they wanted the cool black guy in this movie. And
so why'd they get Bow Wow?
I don't know why they cast Bow Wow.
I'm kidding. Chad, you're awesome.
They wanted the cool black guy in this movie, and then for a movie set in Japan, the characters never felt really like they were in Japan. It made it seem like, hey, we're just in like the Asian part of town. So I don't know. The characters felt out of place to me. Bow Wow specifically, character felt out of place to me. Like I said, they were just like, we're gonna have one white guy and a bunch of Asian characters. We need to appeal to different demographics. So let's put a cool black guy in it. Bow Wow wasn't doing anything. He probably just came off a roll bounce. And or was it what's the other one that are we there yet? Or was a movie that
Like Mike?
Yeah, he probably rolled in off those. You were like, Bow Wow, you doing anything? And he was like, nah.
You
want to be in a Fast and Furious movie? Is Paul Walker gonna be it? Nah, he ain't gonna be there. But we gotta look alike. It's gonna be in Japan. I'll be there. So I mean, that character didn't really vibe with me. Like I said, Lucas's character was Brian Light.
Yeah, Brian Light. Yeah, Diet Brian.
Diet Brian, and that's why I never really connected to those two. If it wasn't for the action scenes, up to this point and where we're at in this, and
the only character that I like in it, honestly, was the Drift King and Han.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when Dominic
Toretto, why they continued Han's character in the rest of the series.
And when Dominic Toretto shows up at the end for his cameo, which Vin Diesel actually made a deal with Universal to do the cameo if he got the rights to Riddick. So they gave him the rights to Riddick, and that's why he filmed this.
That was a great negotiating.
Yeah, and so he got the rights to Pitch Black.
Got a whole other franchise start off with just a cameo.
Yeah, and he got the cameo. So now this movie, one of the biggest things about it is that as far as the timeline is concerned, this actually takes place before, or actually after 6. Before 7.
And people give Fox a crap about their timeline. Look at this timeline.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So you don't really get. So this actually happens. This movie happens all after the Fast 6.
Yeah.
Okay. And his Han's death is right before Fast 7, or at the end of 6.
At the end of 6.
So. It is kind of confusing. You finally get there. The thing that kind of annoyed me was, especially when you watch Furious 7, is that they show the scene where Han dies, and then they show Lucas Black race Toretto, and then when they talk in the parking garage, he's aged the freaking 10 years or whatever it's been.
Where's the de-aging process? That is like they had the technology, they had the money. Where's the de-aging process? But yeah.
But overall characters, I gotta give it a hate. All right. So the score is 3-2. So we actually saved it.
We saved it.
I was worried about the
things
plot.
that Justin Lin, you saved are you don't hate.
Yeah, Justin, all because of you, Justin. All because of you, you saved that movie. But because the way I had it was that plot was you were gonna like, but I got Aspen's point as far as it being cliche and all that.
Yeah.
But I thought that was gonna get the like. I thought the acting was gonna get the hate because you had all these newcomers that really didn't.
For me,
So it was going back and forth on that, but
acting, I gotta be sitting there like, ooh, God, like 50 Shades of Grey acting. Ooh, God. That's what I gotta be sitting there like cringing. And this was just kind of like, I just went with it.
Well, this movie has a 37% on Rotten Tomatoes based on over 100 critic reviews.
Better than Suicide Squad.
Some of the, there are actually a lot of people that pretty much agree with us, actually. Then there are some that say that there's no humor in it. There's a lot of girls.
Come on!
But not a lot of...
Whoever wins gets me.
Yeah.
That wasn't humorous.
But they were talking about that it just lacked that humor that the previous installments had, and so that was one of the things that they didn't like. Plus, the characters were poorly written, dialogue was poorly written.
Oh, we talked about the characters. We didn't really care for the characters.
So that was one of the things. But like I said, 85 million budget, 158, still made its money. So that just goes to show that and then going back and seeing it again.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as when I first saw
exactly.
It was like way better than when I first saw it. When I first saw this movie, I was like, oh, this movie's garbage. But when I saw it again now, I was like, it's not that bad.
And the soundtrack is produced by Pharrell Williams and Dr. Dre.
There you go.
So you really don't hate this movie.
If you didn't like the movie, just bump the soundtrack in the car. You'll be right.
Oh man, I thought it was not too bad.
My whole thing with this, Lucas got to return to the franchise. Bow Wow, man, get back on the phone, get back in this franchise. Tyrese is still in this. Ludacris, who's doing nothing in this franchise, is still in here since 2 on.
But look at him, how young he looks. Look how young he looks. Now he looks older. He can't.
The aging.
According to timeline, he can't play a kid no more.
The aging. Come on, y'all kids.
Unless Fast and the Furious 9 takes place years after 8. Maybe.
I mean, they don't really tell you the time frame that these heists are taking place anyway. I mean, is it?
You're reaching.
They don't tell you, like, is it next week that this happened, or is it next year that this happens? We don't really know, do we?
Bow Wow.
They can put on the fake braids on top of your head.
Bring Boswell back. You know what's funny is that when we were talking about Han, that they liked him so much that they brought him back to the other ones. Now producers of Fast 8 are actually thinking of bringing him back for either 9 or 10. Did he die? I don't know. You thought Letty died, but Letty didn't die.
Don't do that.
You know?
Come on, that's too much. Dead, not dead. Bring back Bow Wow. We want Bow Wow.
We want Twinkie.
Maybe.
Fast Twinkie.
Come on, it's like they could have
Furious Twinkie.
We already got Tyrese and Ludacris just kind of doing nothing, hanging out, just being black. We just throw Shad Moss in there, and just 3 people hanging out being black, and then
what is it? Ludacris and
Rock is technically Samoan now. He don't recognize being black no more.
Did you just interrupt me?
I'm sorry. Were you saying something?
I was.
Were you saying something?
Those characters are
So anyway,
those characters are the comic relief. Dang it!
I don't consider Ludacris a comic relief for that movie.
No, he's the tech genius of the
tech genius. So what is Bow Wow now? He's a weapon specialist.
He's a weapon specialist.
He's a weapon specialist. Yeah, he's the one that was bringing in Tokyo Drift. He was bringing all of the Asians a lot of the American stuff.
He was the guy who got you stuff.
Yeah.
It was
so now
I'm making moves. I'm moving.
I'm moving. You're messing with Titty Woman over here. Terrence, take us home.
All right. So if you feel like I feel and you want Bow Wow back into the franchise, make sure you put the comments below about we want
Twinkie.
Bow Wow. We want Twinkie.
Hashtag we want Twinkie.
Oh man, tell us how much you really don't hate this movie. If you love this movie, please let me know, because it's not the greatest movie, not the best Fast and the Furious movie, but it's definitely not a movie that you can sit up and say like, oh my god, it's horrible. Even though I said it before, it's not horrible, because I watched it again and I felt stupid for even saying that it was a horrible movie. But let us know. Yeah. And as always, make sure you subscribe so that way you know about all the videos that we do on the channel. This video, Drop Dead Get a Beauty, our podcast, and always our top 5. So That's all I got.
All right. Well, our next You Don't Hate will be Spider-Man 3,
God.
based on your votes. Based on your votes on a poll that we put out on Twitter, and that one actually won. So Spider-Man 3 will be coming soon.
Make sure you guys participate in the polls, because you could either torture us by giving us some movies that really don't need to be defense, or
Independence Day 2,
or you could help us find some gems, some hidden gems that are out there that people don't give a lot of credit to, that got overlooked.
No, absolutely. So for Aspen in the back, I'm Manny,
I'm Terrence.
and we'll see you next time.
We got some judges, man, and they in this area, and there's some crime, and they killed the motherfuckers when the shit happened.
Right? And they
go
don't
down.
even give you no chance, no more probation, nothing. Bullshit, man. Even then, man, in the freaking in the future, they still don't let they don't let us freaking have nothing. But they let white boy Rob Schneider in that motherfucker.